Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this year's edition of the MFC Social Finance Vibe. I'm Grzegorz Galusek, and I'm delighted to host a very important conversation today about the future of finance for Europe's small businesses. And with us is a key figure bridging EU policy and Polish enterprises, Mr. Arkadiusz Lewicki, Managing Director at the National Contact Point for EU Financial Instruments and Team Director at the Polish Bank Association. So welcome, Arkadiusz.
Welcome, Grzegorz. Good morning, everybody.
Thanks. So Arkadiusz, to start, I wondered, because your title includes this important organization, the National Contact Point for EU Financial Instruments. Could you explain for our audience, and especially those from outside of Poland, what exactly the contact point is and what its primary mission is?
Yeah, so National Contact Point is a special hub combining private and public capacity dedicated for information, promotion and advisory for financial markets and for final beneficiaries, for example, micro entrepreneurs. We focus on central government programs of European Union for financial instruments. It's a special focus of our activity because most of another institutions are focused on grants, etc. So we try to convince financial institutions and beneficiaries for maybe more complicated but more efficient instruments. I mean returnable instruments, also very promising for the future in the generally in the era of public deficits.
Okay, super. And
so maybe one word about our partners, because the National Contact Point was established in Polish Bank Association, but we strongly cooperate with our Ministry of Economy, our Ministry of European Funds, our Agency for Entrepreneurial Development, and also with more than 50 entrepreneurial organizations in Poland. Of course, also with Microfinance Foundation. So I think that it's a key for success, for a good access with information, with proper advisory, because today not only financial offer, but also the information channel and advisory support is very, very important.
And I can confirm it's a very important institution, a kind of as the name suggests, a sort of a focal point for both the financial sector players, for enterprises and MSMEs, for public policy, and for the EU funding. So it's a spot, it's a platform where all of these stakeholders can meet and discuss funding opportunities, policy-related issues, and any other things that relate to the growth of the MSME sector.
Yes.
Very important model for very effective use of opportunities that come with EU funding on the kind of a border, on the edge of policy, the financial sector, and the EU funding opportunities.
Yes, exactly. Polish entrepreneurs could meet on this platform more than 400 intermediaries, every kind of intermediaries. It's very important that they have a very wide scope of this activity, financial activity, not only credit or loan, but also leasing, guarantees, VC funds, debt, private debt. So we have agreements or practice of cooperation with every part of the markets. National contact point for EU financial instruments in Poland cooperates with 7 sectors, financial sectors. So every micro entrepreneur can find a proper instrument for him.
That sounds like a great opportunity for everyone, but especially for the micro and small businesses.
Yeah.
But Arkadiusz, I wanted to ask, with the EU increased focus on security and also EU facing criticism regarding its limited economic competitiveness, how do these trends affect the support for MSME sector in Poland?
Yeah, good question. So today the EU is paying much more attention to economic security and competitiveness. This also changes how support for small and medium-sized enterprises is organized. There is now a stronger focus on sectors that are strategic for Europe, such as green technologies, supply chain resilience, and innovation, digital solutions. For Polish SMEs, this brings new opportunities, especially, for example, through InvestEU, which combines public and private funds. It's now the biggest such program in Europe, not only in Poland. This program make investments less risky and more accessible. So that's why it's so popular in our country. Thanks to the InvestEU member state compartment, Poland can use part of our recovery and resilience facility funds to design financial products specifically for Polish entrepreneurs. And now we are supporting our government, but also our entrepreneurs in a special new offer coming on the winter for our market based on this box. At the national contact points, our role is to promote these opportunities, both, as I mentioned, to business and financial institutions, and to help ensure that Polish micro entrepreneurs know how to use this new instrument effectively, because sometimes in the map, in the big box of this with these instruments in Poland, for example, from cohesion policy, from agricultural policy, from central programs, but also domestic programs, it's very hard to find the best solution, the best program, in spite of the fact when you have for example, limits of state aid or similar limitations. So they should choose the best program for them, because in the other solution they could be cut from another, for example, instruments.
Yeah. So it seems that the security focus actually is bringing a lot of new opportunities to MSMEs, which is great to hear. And looking ahead to, let's say, 2029, what do you think are the major trends that would that will impact the availability of EU funding for MSMEs?
So we see 3 main trends shaping EU funding by 2029. First is the European Competitiveness Fund, currently being developed by the European Commission, which will combine several EU investment programs into one integrated big fund. Its aim is to simplify access to financing and to direct more resources to strategic sectors and technologies than that strengthen Europe's long-term competitiveness. Second, the planned deregulation called Omnibus, the second regulation. It's very important. The regulation is very important also for financial market, and it's very important for the smallest players on the market. So the Omnibus, the second regulation, will increase the EU guarantee under InvestEU, which should mobilize an additional 50 to 70 billion euros in investments across Europe. These funds will target key areas such as green and digital transition, modern and sustainable transport, social housing, and the defense and security sector. The most important issues now in Europe, especially in the Eastern Europe, like Poland. This will create even more investment opportunities for SMEs that operate in or support these strategic fields. And third, EU support will rely more on financial instruments such as guarantees, loans, equity, rather than traditional grants. This approach help attract private investors and gives innovative MSMEs better access to growth capital.
Okay, great. So it's also an important tip for the institutions, also microfinance institutions, that on the one hand there'll be a lot of funding for their potential clients, beneficiaries, but also probably their dependence on grants, if they do depend on such grants, will have to be somehow revised, as you're saying, the overall philosophy of the EU is move more towards those financial instruments in the form of loans, equity, or guarantees rather than direct grants. So thank you for this information. And since you also mentioned funding for green transition initiatives, I wonder, just what will happen to financing green transition with the rise of populism in Europe, in the US, elsewhere. Of course, here we concerned with the EU, but what can be done to keep them going? So on one hand, we'll have a lot of funding opportunities, but on the other hand, also quite substantial skepticism among the policymakers. What can be done to keep those initiatives, green transition initiatives, going?
Yeah, good questions and good dilemma. I think that growing populism is a general problem for every country, and in green aspects also. So political changes, social changes, populistic changes can sometimes slow down green initiatives, but the overall direction of the transition will remain unchanged. We see, for example, last legislation, European legislation, current legislation, and I'm sure that this direction will be unchanged. The green economy is not just about climate protection. It also creates jobs, reduces energy costs, and strengthens Europe's energy independence, supports also minorities. It's very important also when we talk about, for example, about social economy, about microfinancing with refugees, etc., etc. So it's a general wider horizon, not only climate. To protect green investments from political uncertainty, we need to rely on solid financial instruments. We underline this every time, such as InvestEU and its member state compartments, where RRF mentioned today, resources and other programs are combined with EU guarantees. These tools make green projects more bankable and attractive for private investors, also for micro entrepreneurs, even a less stable political environment. To keep the green transition on track, we should focus on projects which bring clear local benefits. Local content is very important. It's the weight of this, the priority is growing everywhere in Europe, against populists also, such as new jobs, lower energy bills. Secondly, use InvestEU and national compartments to finance practical high-impact green projects. And thirdly, strengthen advisory and technical support to SMEs who should prepare strong investment-ready proposals. So it's our recommendations.
Very good. So you basically what you think that in the long run, this process is not under threat, and we should be able to see green transition as an opportunity to introduce significant changes in our economies, in social economic development, and it should be viewed as an opportunity rather than a problem and a threat to people, right? Okay, good. And my last question to you would be how the EU funds are being utilized in Poland, and whether there have been any changes in the past 2-3 years, especially since the war in Ukraine broke out. Do you forecast any changes in how the EU funding is utilized here?
So generally in Poland, as in Europe, I think EU funds are being used through several channels. Cohesion policy, cohesion funds, recovery and resilience facility as a ad hoc instruments for last COVID crisis, and increasingly through central government programs like InvestEU, and in the future by European Competitiveness Fund. Over the past 2 years, we have seen a gradual shift from traditional grants to financial instruments that support investment and can be reused in the future. This reuse is I think, one of the most important priority now, as I said, in the era of public deficits, that we should think not only about one use, but circulation of this returnable money, and creating possibility to reusing many times, also for micro entrepreneurs. Part of Polish RRF funds is already being challenged into the InvestEU member state compartments, which should allow Poland to support strategic areas. I know that this model, member state compartment, is used only in a few countries in Europe, in EU member states.
Can you maybe explain how this compartment work? What's this?
It's very simple. It's very simple that you can use InvestEU model when we talk about structure of financing, cooperation, for example, with EIB or EIF, mainly with EIF. and you can add national money or national and European money, but from another base, another basket, like cohesion policy, for example, and combine this with RRF money, so also European money. And you can create new instruments on the simpler, easier legal basis, but also with in the opinion of the market, in the better market model with EIF, for example, with special guarantees or another vehicles, financial vehicles. It depends on the country and their needs, of course, because every such shift should be organized after a special ex-ante analysis with the government, with the market. For example, in Poland now it's the big opportunity, and also now it's one of the biggest financial resources. Looking ahead, we expect even greater use of financial instruments and stronger link between national and EU level financing. We hope that European Competitiveness Fund should make EU investment tools simpler, more coordinated, and focused on long-term competitiveness, but also will support micro-entrepreneurs, especially those most innovative, because this fund should support Europe on this direction. And of course, such hubs like our hubs, National Contact Point, we hope that we could also support our entrepreneurs, the smallest one also, and we will try to continue the well-experienced activity for the next period and next programs.
Okay, super. So it seems like seems there's a lot of potential opportunities for SMEs. Funding seems to be widely available. So all we should do is to encourage our enterprise, micro, small, medium sector to tap into those new funding opportunities that exist, and for the purpose of growing their businesses and supporting our economy. So we've covered a lot of ground, from the essential role of the contact point to the complex interplay between security, digitalization, green policy, competitiveness, massive flow of funds, the role of Invest EU, and the MSME sector in Poland and in Europe. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today, Arkadiusz.
Thank you very much once again, and have a good conference, and I hope we could meet tomorrow again. Thank you.
Absolutely. That was Mr. Arkadiusz Lewicki, Managing Director at the National Contact Point for EU Financial Instruments. And please stay tuned for our next session here at the Social Finance Vibe Conference. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Thank you.